Papa.
And what's this say?
Mimi.
And who's with Mimi?
Papa.
Yes. So we're going to go see Nana, Papa, Mimi, and Papa this summer, right?
Yeah.
And possibly Disney, right?
Yes.
And then...
And Ariel's there, too.
And Ariel's there, too. And what is this? Did you already get your pony watch?
Uh-huh.
Because you worked hard for it, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then...
And Cece.
And Cece, yes. And gymnastics you want to do, too?
Yes.
And dance?
Yeah.
So we're going to work for that, right?
Yes.
Okay. What else would you like on your vision board?
Right.
What do you want to add to it? We need to add to it.
Write it again.
You want to do it again?
Yes.
Okay. But what would you like to add to your new vision board?
My what? Someone ripped it.
I know. Focus. Child. Bella. Look at me. Hey. Focus. What do you want to add to your new vision board? What would you like?
More stuff on the board.
More stuff on the board. Okay. But what would you want? What do you want to do? Do you want to do anything?
No.
Do you want to go anywhere?
No.
Well, what would you like to add to your vision board?
I want to write stuff.
But what would you like to write on it? We're trying to get their kids.
Write Cece's name.
Cece's name. But do you want to go to the zoo?
Yes.
Would you like to go to the aquarium?
Yes.
Don't kick the board. What else would you like to do?
When
you grow up, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Play with Mommy and Daddy.
Play with Mommy and Daddy?
Welcome to Dark Matters, True Crime, the channel where every case drags you deeper into the unknown. Hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the darkest corners of the human mind.
For nearly 8 years, the Ruzic family carried a burden few people could ever imagine. Every birthday, every holiday, every Mother's Day, every Christmas, they lived with the silence left behind by Shanann Watts, Bella Watts, Celeste Watts, and baby Nico. Some wounds never truly heal, you simply learn to carry them. But there was one place that remained frozen in time, a place so painful that even thinking about it brought tears, the family home on Saratoga Trail in Frederick, Colorado. To most people, it became known as the Watts house. To Frank and Sandra Ruzic, it was the last place where they had hugged their daughter, the last place where Bella and Celeste laughed, the last place where ordinary family memories existed before unimaginable tragedy changed everything. After the murders, the house stood empty for months. Eventually, foreclosure became unavoidable, before strangers would move in, before new paint covered old walls, before children's voices would replace painful silence. The Ruzic family knew they had to return one final time, not because they wanted to, because they had no choice. They still needed to gather family photographs, children's toys, clothes, keepsakes, the little pieces of life that no police evidence room could ever replace. Frank Ruzic would later describe that visit as one of the most difficult moments of his life. Walking through the front door felt unreal. Everything looked almost exactly as it had before. The furniture, the family photographs, the hallway, the kitchen where Shanann prepared breakfast for Bella and Celeste. For one heartbreaking moment, it almost felt as though the girls might come running around the corner laughing, but they never would. Every room carried memories. Every hallway echoed with silence. Yet there were 2 rooms that no one wanted to enter. Bella's bedroom and Celeste's bedroom. Those small bedrooms still looked like children's rooms. Stuffed animals rested on the beds. Favorite books remained on the shelves. Tiny shoes waited by the closet. It was as if time itself had stopped on August 13th, 2018. Sandra Ruzic simply couldn't walk inside. The pain was too overwhelming. Frank stood in the doorway, unable to move. How do you step into the room of a little girl you know is never coming home? How do you pack away an entire childhood into cardboard boxes? He took a deep breath, then slowly crossed the doorway. What he discovered inside Bella's room would remain private for years. It wasn't evidence. It wasn't something investigators needed. It was something far more powerful. A glimpse into the heart of a little girl whose dreams would never have the chance to come true. And when the Ruzek family finally decided to share it with the world, millions would understand Bella Watts in a way they never had before. Because behind every headline, behind every courtroom photograph, behind every documentary, there was simply a little girl who loved her family and believed tomorrow would always come. Before we continue, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think is the hardest part for families who must return to a loved one's home after such a devastating loss? Please share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. And if you appreciate respectful, victim-focused true crime documentaries, please like this video, subscribe to Dark Matters True Crime, and turn on notifications so you never miss another carefully researched story. Finally, tell us what country you're watching Dark Matters True Crime from. Thank you for being part of our community. Hallway felt impossibly long. Every step Frank Ruzicek took toward Bella's bedroom carried the weight of memories he never imagined would become his last. He paused outside the small white door. For a moment, he simply stared. Inside that room lived the laughter of a little girl who loved bedtime stories, Disney movies, and pretending she was the best big sister in the world. But now, there was only silence. Frank slowly turned the doorknob. The room looked exactly as Bella had left it. Her bed was neatly made. Stuffed animals still sat in their familiar places. Tiny shoes rested beside the dresser. A small backpack leaned against the wall, waiting for adventures that would never come. It felt as though Bella might run into the room at any second and proudly show her grandfather another drawing she had made. Instead, there was nothing. Only the heartbreaking stillness left behind after unimaginable loss. Frank later admitted that he struggled to breathe. Every object told a story: a favorite blanket, a doll with messy hair, coloring books filled with bright crayons, tiny dresses hanging neatly in the closet. These weren't just belongings anymore. They had become priceless memories. Sandra Ruzicek couldn't bring herself to enter. The pain was simply too overwhelming. A mother's heart can only carry so much. Watching her husband gather Bella's possessions from the doorway was almost more than she could bear. Frank and Bella's uncle, Frankie, carefully began packing boxes. Every toy was racked with care. Every photograph was protected. Every little keepsake reminded them that Bella wasn't just another victim whose name appeared in headlines. She was a little girl with dreams, a granddaughter who loved giving hugs, a child whose entire future had been stolen. Then Frank noticed something sitting quietly on Bella's small desk. It wasn't a toy. It wasn't a photograph. It was a notebook. Simple, colorful, almost forgotten among the other belongings. He picked it up without thinking much about it. When he opened the first page, everything stopped. Neither Frank nor Frankie spoke. They simply stared. Inside were the thoughts of a 4-year-old little girl. Drawings, simple words, tiny dreams written with the innocence only a child possesses. The notebook revealed a Bella the public had never truly known. Not the victim seen in news reports, not the child remembered only because of tragedy. But Bella, the loving big sister, the daughter who adored her family, the little girl who believed tomorrow would always be full of happiness. For years, the Ruzicek family kept that notebook hidden from the public. It wasn't evidence. It wasn't something meant for television cameras. It was Bella's heart on paper, a private treasure they couldn't bear to share. But nearly 8 years later, they made a decision that would leave millions of people in tears. They wanted the world to remember Bella for the life she lived, not simply for the way she died. Before we continue, take a moment to remember Bella, Celeste, Shanann, and baby Nico. Frank Ruzicek sat quietly at Bella's little desk, the notebook resting gently in his hands. For a few moments, he couldn't bring himself to open it. It wasn't because he feared what he might find. It was because he knew whatever was inside would be the closest thing he had left to hearing his granddaughter's voice again. When he finally turned the first page, tears immediately filled his eyes. This wasn't just a notebook. It was Bella's world. Every page reflected the innocence of a 4-year-old girl who believed life was filled with endless possibilities. She wasn't thinking about danger. She wasn't afraid of tomorrow. She was dreaming. One page contained a simple drawing of her family. There was Mommy, Daddy, Bella, little Cece, and beside them was a tiny baby, representing the little brother everyone was waiting to meet. The figures held hands beneath a smiling sun. To Bella, family meant safety. It meant laughter. It meant bedtime hugs and Saturday mornings. She believed her family would always stay together. Looking at that drawing today is heartbreaking, because the little girl who created it had no idea that everything she loved was about to disappear. Another page showed what Bella wanted most in life. She wanted to learn new things. She wanted to play outside. She wanted birthdays with balloons and cake. She wanted swimming lessons. She wanted to become an even better big sister. There were no expensive dreams, no impossible wishes, just the beautiful hopes every child should have the chance to experience. Frank later said that each page felt like Bella was speaking directly to him. Her personality came alive through every colorful drawing. Her kindness could be seen in the way she included everyone she loved. Her excitement about becoming a big sister again was impossible to miss. She talked about helping with the new baby. She imagined holding him, playing with him, teaching him everything she knew. Those dreams never had the opportunity to become memories. As Frank carefully turned each page, one painful realization became impossible to ignore. The world had spent years talking about Chris Watts, the investigation, the evidence, the courtroom, the confession, but very few people had truly known Bella. This notebook changed that. Reminded everyone that Bella wasn't simply a victim in one of America's most shocking criminal cases. She was a joyful little girl with a bright imagination, a loving heart, and an entire future waiting for her. That future was stolen. But through the pages of her notebook, her voice still speaks. Not with anger, not with fear, but with the pure innocence that made Bella so unforgettable. And perhaps that is the greatest gift her family could ever share with the world. Before we continue to the next chapter, we'd love to hear from you. What part of Bella's story has touched your heart the most so far? Please share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. As Frank continued turning the pages of Bella's notebook, one drawing made him stop completely. He stared at it for several moments. Then he quietly placed the notebook on the desk and lowered his head. He couldn't hold back the tears. It wasn't the drawing itself that broke his heart. It was what it represented. Across the page, Bella had carefully drawn a picture of her family. Like most 4-year-olds, the figures were simple stick people with smiling faces. To anyone else, it might have looked like an ordinary child's drawing. To her grandfather, it became one of the most painful things he had ever seen. Above the picture, Bella had proudly written, with a little help from her mother, the word, family. Everyone was there. Mommy, Daddy, Bella, Cece, and the baby her mother was carrying. Every single person she loved was together, holding hands, smiling, safe. That was Bella's world. She believed families stayed together forever. She believed her father would always protect them. She believed home was the safest place she could ever be. She had no way of knowing that while she was dreaming about family, the person she trusted most was already pulling away emotionally from the life they had built together. Looking at that page today, it's impossible not to ask one heartbreaking question. How could someone destroy the very people a little girl believed would always be there? Frank later reflected that Bella never spoke about expensive toys or grand adventures. She never dreamed about becoming famous. Her greatest happiness came from being surrounded by the people she loved. She adored her mother. She looked up to her father. She was incredibly proud of being Cece's big sister, and she couldn't wait to meet baby Nico. Those simple dreams are what make Bella's story so heartbreaking. She wasn't asking for a perfect life. She already believed she had one. The notebook became more than paper and crayons. It became proof of something no courtroom evidence could fully explain. Bella's innocence, her trust, her belief that love inside a family was unbreakable. That trust makes the tragedy even more devastating. Because children don't question whether their parents will keep them safe. They simply believe it, without hesitation, without fear, without conditions. That kind of trust is one of the purest things in the world. And when it is betrayed, the loss reaches far beyond words. For the Ruzek family, Every page of Bella's notebook reminded them of the childhood that was stolen. Not just the years she never lived, but the dreams she never had the chance to fulfill. The notebook wasn't evidence of a crime. It was evidence of a beautiful little life filled with hope. And perhaps that is why it hurts so much to read. Before we continue, we'd love to hear your thoughts. If you could say one thing to honor Bella's memory, what would it be? End. Please share your message respectfully in the comments below. There was one page in Bella's notebook that Frank Ruzek struggled to look at for more than a few seconds. Even today, he says it brings him to tears. Unlike the colorful drawings of playgrounds and birthdays, this page contained only a simple picture and a few words. To Bella, they were ordinary. To her family, they became almost impossible to bear. In the center of the page, Bella had drawn her father. The figure was taller than everyone else, just as a 4-year-old would naturally draw an adult. Beside the drawing, in her small, carefully written letters, she had written, "Daddy is strong." Underneath that, another sentence appeared, "Daddy is good." And finally, at the bottom of the page were the words that shattered Frank's heart. "I love Daddy." Those 3 simple words carried more emotion than thousands of pages of police reports. Bella wasn't pretending. She wasn't confused. She truly believed every word she had written. To her, Chris Watts wasn't the man the world would later come to know. He was the father who carried her on his shoulders, the father who tucked her into bed, the father she ran toward when he came home from work, the father she believed would always keep her safe. That is what makes this page so incredibly painful. Bella's love was completely unconditional. She never questioned whether her father loved her. She never imagined he could become the greatest danger she would ever face. Children don't think that way. Their trust is absolute. Their love is pure. And Bella's notebook captured that innocence forever. Frank later reflected that reading those words was almost harder than listening to courtroom testimony. Evidence explains what happened. But Bella's notebook explained who she was. It revealed a little girl whose heart was full of love. A child who believed goodness existed inside the people closest to her. That innocence makes the tragedy almost impossible to comprehend. Every parent hopes their child will always feel protected. Every grandparent hopes their grandchildren will grow up believing the world is a safe place. Bella believed exactly that, until the final hours of her life. Her notebook reminds us that before she became known around the world, she was simply a little girl who adored her family. She trusted without fear. She loved without conditions. And she dreamed without limits. Perhaps that is the greatest loss of all. Not only were Bella's future birthdays taken away, but the beautiful innocence she carried in her heart was betrayed by the very person she believed would protect it forever. Before we continue, we'd like to hear from you. What lesson do you think parents and families should take away from Bella's story? Please share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. And if you believe every victim deserves to be remembered for the life they lived, not just the tragedy they endured, please like this video, subscribe to Dark Matters True Crime, and turn on notifications so you never miss another carefully researched documentary. Finally, tell us what country you're watching Dark Matters True Crime from. Thank you for supporting Dark Matters True Crime and helping us honor the memories of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and baby Nico. For years, Bella's notebook remained hidden, not because the Rizukek family wanted to keep secrets, but because some memories are simply too sacred to place before the world. Every time Frank or Sandra opened that notebook, they weren't reading words on paper. They were hearing Bella's voice again. They were remembering her laughter, her smile, the way she proudly ran to show everyone another drawing she had finished. The notebook wasn't just a collection of childhood memories. It was one of the few pieces of Bella they still had. For nearly 8 years, they protected it. They kept it away from cameras, away from headlines, away from social media. Then something changed. Frank began noticing that many conversations about the Watts case had drifted away from the victims. People debated conspiracies. They argued over timelines. They analyzed Chris Watts' interviews. They discussed internet rumors and endless theories. Meanwhile, Bella was slowly becoming just another name in a famous criminal case. That broke Frank's heart. He didn't want the world to remember Bella only because of how she died. He wanted people to know how she lived, how she laughed until she hiccuped, how she loved helping her little sister, how excited she was about becoming a big sister once again, how she believed every tomorrow would be happier than today. The notebook became the perfect way to tell that story, not through police reports, not through courtroom testimony, but through Bella's own eyes, through the dreams of a little girl who had no idea her future would be stolen. Frank later reflected that if sharing Bella's notebook could help even one family appreciate the value of ordinary moments, then the emotional pain of making it public would be worth it. Because childhood is fragile, tomorrow is never guaranteed. Sometimes we become so busy chasing careers, paying bills, and worrying about the future that we forget how precious today's simple moments truly are. Bella's notebook reminds us to slow down, to hug our children a little longer, to tell our families we love them, to never assume there will always be another tomorrow. The Rusek family also hoped Bella's story might inspire people to recognize warning signs in unhealthy relationships. Not every tragedy can be prevented, but awareness saves lives. Education saves lives. Listening to people who ask for help saves lives. That is the legacy Frank hopes Bella can leave behind. Not one of fear, but one of compassion. One that encourages families to cherish one another while they still can. Because Bella's greatest dream wasn't fame. It wasn't wealth. It wasn't anything extraordinary. She simply wanted to grow up surrounded by the people she loved. A dream every child deserves the chance to live. Before we continue to our final chapters, we'd love to hear from you. What lesson has Bella's story taught you about family, love, or appreciating the people closest to you? Please share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. By the time the Rusek family decided to share Bella's notebook, they knew it would reopen wounds that had never fully healed. They understood that every page would bring back memories they had spent years trying to survive. But they also believed something else. Bella's story could become more than a story about tragedy. It could become a reminder of how precious childhood truly is. For years, the world had focused almost entirely on Chris Watts, his lies, his confession, his prison life, his interviews, his motives. Yet Frank often asked himself one heartbreaking question. Why should the man who destroyed my family continue to receive all the attention?
I know.
What are they doing up here?
I don't want to up here.
They're floating in the water, like it feels like they're floating in space.
Oh.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
No gravity, you float?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready for the test?
Yeah.
You don't pass?
No.
Okay. You're honest.
Do the test.
Yeah. Alright. So what happens in... I know. So what happens in space?
I know.
Do you float?
It's funny.
Do you float or do you sink?
Sink.
Do you float or do you sink?
Float.
Good job. So when you crash in a space shuttle, do you go down a slide or do you jump out?
Jump out.
You go down a slide or do you jump out?
Jump out.
Oh, you didn't get that. You go down a slide.
That was right.
Yes. So when the astronauts are getting very fit, do they lift weights or do they eat McDonald's?
Tunnels.
Do they lift weights or eat McDonald's?
Tunnels.
Okay, you got 1 out of 3 so far. You're doing too well. So when
Bella deserved to be remembered for who she was, not because of the way she died, but because of the beautiful little life she lived. She loved singing around the house. She laughed at the smallest things. She adored butterflies, Disney princesses, and spending time with her little sister Cece. She was gentle, kind, thoughtful beyond her years. People who knew Bella often described her as an old soul trapped inside a little girl's body. She cared deeply about other people. If Cece cried, Bella was usually the first person to comfort her. If someone looked sad, Bella noticed immediately. She had a heart that naturally cared for others. Those are the memories her grandparents refused to let disappear. Frank has said that while the world remembers headlines, families remember moments. They remember bedtime hugs, birthday candles, Tiny footsteps running through the hallway. The sound of laughter echoing through the house. Those ordinary memories become priceless after someone is gone. That is why Bella's notebook means so much. It isn't simply paper covered with crayons. It represents a future that should have existed. A little girl who should have started kindergarten, who should have learned to ride a bicycle, who should have graduated from high school, who should have grown into adulthood, surrounded by the people she loved. Instead, her story ended before it had truly begun. Today, Bella's notebook has become something much greater than a family keepsake. It has become a symbol, a reminder that behind every true crime case are real children with real dreams. Children who deserved birthdays, graduations, friendships, and futures. Children who should never be remembered only for the crimes committed against them. As viewers, it's easy to become fascinated by investigations and courtroom evidence. But Bella's notebook gently shifts our attention back to where it belongs. The victims, their lives, their hopes, their dreams. That is the legacy the Rozusek family wants the world to carry forward. Not endless speculation, not sensational headlines, but compassion, remembrance, and the promise that Bella Marie Watts will never be forgotten. Before we continue to our final chapter, I'd love to hear from you. How do you think Bella should be remembered by future generations? Please share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. As we come to the end of this story, one question remains. How should the world remember Bella Watts? Should she be remembered only as one of the victims in one of America's most heartbreaking family murder cases? Or should she be remembered as the little girl who loved to laugh, who adored her little sister, and who believed the future would be filled with birthdays, school, and family adventures? For Frank and Sandra Rozusek, the answer has never changed. Bella was never just a victim. She was their granddaughter. A little girl with bright eyes, a gentle heart, and dreams that deserved the chance to become reality. That is why sharing Bella's notebook meant so much. It wasn't about reopening old wounds. Those wounds had never truly closed. It wasn't about creating headlines. It was about giving Bella something the tragedy almost took away. Her voice. Through every drawing, every carefully written word, every dream she placed on those pages, Bella reminded the world what childhood is supposed to look like. It is supposed to be filled with hope, with imagination, with unconditional love. Not fear, not betrayal, not unimaginable loss. Perhaps Bella's greatest legacy isn't the notebook itself. Perhaps it's the reminder that every child deserves to grow up believing they are safe. Every child deserves parents who protect them. Every child deserves the opportunity to chase their dreams without fear. The Watts case changed countless lives forever. It left two families carrying grief that words can never fully describe. But it also taught the world important lessons about recognizing warning signs, supporting families in crisis, and never taking the people we love for granted. Life is fragile. Tomorrow is never promised. The ordinary moments we often overlook can become our most treasured memories. A bedtime hug, a family photograph, a child's drawing taped to the refrigerator, a simple "I love you." Those moments become priceless. Bella never had the chance to grow older. She never celebrated another birthday. She never became the big sister she dreamed of being to baby Nico. She never walked into her first classroom or graduated from school. Those milestones were stolen. But her kindness, her innocence, and the love she gave so freely can never be taken away. That is the legacy her family continues to protect. As we close this documentary, let us remember Shanann Watts, Bella Watts, Celeste Watts, and baby Nico. Not only for the heartbreaking way their lives ended, but for the joy, love, and happiness they brought into the lives of everyone who knew them. May their memories continue to inspire compassion, kindness, and a commitment to protecting those who are most vulnerable. Thank you for spending this time with Dark Matters True Crime. If Bella's story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to Dark Matters True Crime, and turn on notifications so you never miss another respectful, carefully researched true crime documentary that puts victims first. Your support helps us continue telling these stories with dignity, compassion, and truth. Before you go, we'd love to hear from you. How would you like the world to remember Bella Watts? Please leave your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. And finally, tell us what country you're watching Dark Matters True Crime from. Thank you for being part of the Dark Matters True Crime family. where we honor victims, remember their stories, and ensure they are never forgotten.